All right, so thank you everyone. Good morning. Welcome to the final session of our 7-part series on CRM options for enterprise nonprofits. Today's session is going to be focused on ROI Solutions. We're joined by Jason Robbins from ROI Solutions to show the benefits of their platform and provide a demonstration of many of its powerful features. So we're super excited to have them. I'm Keely Jones from Heller Consulting, a project manager, and I'll be your moderator today. So this webinar is a final in a series of 7 covering the most popular CRM solutions for enterprise nonprofits. As with the previous sessions, we're going to be sending out the recording of this session as well as slides by the end of the week. This is the very first in the series was an overview of CRM options and how to get started with an initiative and start selecting the appropriate software for your organization. So I'd encourage everyone to look at the webinar on our website, and the link is in the chat stream as well. Today we'll be talking with ROI Solutions, but over the last few months we've been looking at solutions from Nonprofit Success Pack, Blackbaud CRM, NGO Connect, Clearview CRM, and Stratus Live. Our hope and our intention is that this provides you with a good view of what's available in the marketplace when you go to look for a new CRM or any fundraising system. So I'm just going to note a few things before we turn it over to ROI Solutions. So if you're just getting to know Heller Consulting and our services, our core expertise is working with nonprofits in the nonprofit sector and technology and platforms. We've been working with the sector for over 20 years. Everyone on our team has come from the nonprofit background and field. We start with CRM strategy and design, which includes vision planning, architecture design, needs analysis, change management and support, all before you begin an implementation. We do a lot of work on the actual technical implementation of your CRM when the organization is ready and rearing and ready to go with a new platform. All of our implementations include change management, training, and support to make sure that your initiative is adopted and successful. Lastly, we do a lot of work with organizations after they've implemented their CRM systems on how to effectively use and optimize the system to achieve your fundraising, engagement, and user and adoption roles. Before we get into the main presentation, I want to briefly highlight a few concepts about business intelligence and analytics from the first webinar that I think would be important to keep in mind as we go through this. And if you want more details, please watch the first webinar and again, download any resources at the end of the presentation. So you're probably hearing a lot more in the sector and in the field about artificial intelligence, business intelligence, and analytics lately. Kind of buzzwords and trending around quite a bit when we talk about CRM. It's important to understand that analytics for nonprofits is using data to objectively evaluate your organization's practices, providing insights for effective forecasting and decision making. It is a detailed view built with accuracy, consistency, and rigor over an extended period of time. Effective analytics will help you make better decisions. And to be clear, analytics is not reporting, so they are almost opposites. Reporting, which is what a lot of us in the nonprofit sector use, provide a snapshot of something like a single campaign success metrics, whereas an analytics initiative will enable your organization to deliver more of your mission more effectively. The insights obtained are based on your organization's unique goals and should guide the decisions and changes your organization makes as you plan your fundraising and development efforts for the future. So this is a key feature of analytics initiative, and it's what elevates it above standard reporting. So in this space and in CRM, we're trying to move away from just basic standard reports to using analytics to better our fundraising efforts, raise our goals, and be able to further out our mission. Analytics is further differentiated on a practical level because it usually involves defining and delivering key performance indicators, so KPIs, drawing from multiple data sources in a more sophisticated fashion and proactively surfacing and focusing on important insights. It's not difficult to get started with an analytics initiative. In the simplest way or explanation, you should be determining what you want to achieve and then develop a plan to get there. So these are what we have found are the essential ingredients for any analytics initiative. Clarify your goals. Ask which areas of the organization, if analyzed and improved, would have the greatest impact on expanding the mission. Prioritizing. Determine which of those goals are more important to your organization at this time. Those change from year to year. They're not always the same. Expand the details. Develop the specific details of how to achieve your goal. What does that mean? And then preparing for change. This is very important. Analytics won't mean anything if you aren't ready to act on the information. So you want to be prepared, and the people that work behind the scenes want to be prepared for what that change means. What should they do when they have those analytics in hand? For more information, there's a few resources that we have available on our website. There's a lot of additional information on CRM strategy, tools, resources that help nonprofits deliver their mission more effectively. Please go to our website and feel free to download any of these papers and listen to the previous webinars. A few housekeeping items before we start and pass it over to Roy. All audio lines have been muted to ensure high quality, and questions can be posted in the question box of your GoToWebinar panel. I'll be reading out questions towards the end of the webinar, so feel free to place them there. Without further ado, it's my pleasure to hand it over to Jason from ROI Solutions.
And good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us here at ROI Solutions. And I'd like to introduce ROI Solutions CEO and founder, Gina Vanderloop, who will be talking a little bit more about our company, and then I will be jumping in and talk about the actual application, Revolution Online.
Very good. Hi, everybody. This is Gina Vanderloop. I'm the founder and CEO of ROI Solutions. We say ROI, not ROI, because Roy is actually my mother's maiden name, so that's a little bit of trivia for you. As Jason mentioned, we're going to do a quick sort of an overview walkthrough of the company, tell you about who we are, what we do, who we work with, and why. And then Jason is actually going to do a live walkthrough and demo of our product called Revolution Online. So just a little bit of a background. So I actually come from the nonprofit world. Prior to starting ROI, I worked for a number of nonprofit organizations, and really, kind of out of frustration, started ROI because the industry timetables and costs to do things were long and expensive. And so back in 1999, I set out to kind of change that. So we're not a new company. We've been around for going on 18 years. We have a lot of clients that have been with us since the beginning of time. And I think that's really a testament to the fact that our product really continues to meet the needs of our client base, no matter where they are in their roadmap. We've got 5 of our oldest clients were actually installed back in 2000 and 2001. Our largest client is the American Lung Association. They've got about 26 million individual records on their file with about 250 users, so a tremendous amount of scalability in our product. And as a company, we have quite a bit of tenure and longevity in our team. Our average staff tenure is about 6.5 years, and 5 of our 9 senior managers have been with the company for 10 years or more. The reason why I think that's important is it really gives our organizations a good foundation as they come into our product, that the people that are working with them have been here, have been with the company, and really know the product and services inside and out. The product that we're going to take a look at, our application is called Revolution Online. It is what we live, eat, breathe, sleep here at ROI Solutions. It is our only product. The reason why I highlight that is because we are singularly focused on delivering this product to our clients. We're not spread thinly over multiple different products and services that we're trying to sell to our clients. Like I say, we live, eat, breathe, sleep the thing that we do here. And I own the company, so that is important in this day and age, because I like to say that we answer to our clients. We have no outside investors. We don't have things that we have to meet for our stockholders and those sort of things. I mean, we are focused on our growth and meeting the needs of our client, which brings us to our overriding business value, which is client satisfaction. We want our clients to really get what they need from us at all times. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail around our clients. You can kind of see who we work with in the background. But I thought there was some kind of fun stories with some of the organizations that we work with and how we've been able to change their life for the better. 3 examples here. The American Lung Association came onto our system. They had previously been on an in-house system that they managed themselves, actually in a data center in Henderson, Nevada. And they had about 17 people that ran that facility. Their CTO at the time would always like to say, they were one Diet Coke away from a disaster. I never really understood what that meant until he sent me a picture, and they literally had a Diet Coke on one of their servers that was housing their database. So obviously, when he came into the organization, he said, we really need to not only strengthen the product and the security and the management of this, which is why they moved to ROI, but looking at how they can be much more efficient and cost-effective in the management. So when we took their product into ours, it took about a 9-month conversion, and in their first year, they saved about $950,000 by moving into our platform. One of our newest clients is the Humane Society, and so that's the Humane Society of the United States, as well as internationally all of their brands. They came from multiple systems into our system. We do syncs with online ECRM. We do all of their cardholder, credit card management, their monthly giving programs. And their conversion took about 9 months as well. In fact, they just went live with our system in September. And what we were able to do is quantify what kind of an impact we've made on them in the first month that they went live with our system. They do all of their sustainer management within our product. And in the first month that we were doing their payment processing, the organization was able to recoup about $69,000, both from credit card declines, cards that had been previously declined that we were able to recover, and as well credit card cardholder information that was either expired or had been reported as lost or what have you that we were able to recover. So $69,000 in the first month. You can do the math to how much of an impact that organization is experiencing, having been on our product for just 1 month. And Oxfam America also came to us a couple of years ago, and for them, we not only did their conversion of their CRM platform into Revolution Online, but at the exact same time, we converted them from their ECRM system to another ECRM. So they went live with our system, again, about a 9-month conversion, and the next day we did the conversion for their ECRM. So we have a very unique, I think, philosophy in our offering to our clients. I think there are kind of two approaches that software vendors take. One is to build everything into one platform. We ascribe to what we call the best of breed approach. And by that, we think that there are products out there that are best of breed for any of our clients. What works for Oxfam America may be different for Amnesty International, may be different for Doctors Without Borders, et cetera. And for each of those organizations, that is their best of breed. And so we come at it with, how does our platform provide the flexibility to integrate with these platforms as they become available. I always tell folks that you know what you need to do today, you know what you need to do 6 months from now, you might even know what you need to have happen a year from now, but none of us can fully predict, especially in the world of technology, what the needs are going to be, a year plus from now. And you need to have platforms behind you that have that flexibility to integrate those technologies no matter when they come at you. We are most known in the industry for our integration expertise. We have, in fact, I always say, I haven't met a system or a product that I haven't been able to integrate with, and I think that really speaks largely to the success of our clients, where they're always embracing new technologies, new ways of doing things, and we want to make sure that we bring all that data back into our system that we call the ROI Constituent Information Hub, and we serve really as the general contractor for all of that work. So when a client comes to us and says, hey, we have this new product we want to integrate, we're sitting at the table to help them figure out how to best do that. And again, as I said, we've got one single product, the Revolution Online system. It is, it's a very, as you'll see, a very robust and well-developed product, but it's really customized to the unique needs of all of our clients. In terms of the offering that we have a very impressive track record, 100% on time and within budget for our implementation and conversions. That's pretty huge in this world. I'm sure you guys have all heard of conversions that take 12 to 18 months or longer, and they were quoted at a certain price, and they ended up being 4 or 5 times more than that. We don't have that problem. We are 100%, when we sit down with an organization and say a conversion is going to take 6 months or 8 months, I never say 12 to 18 months because it shouldn't take that long. We are 100% on time and within the budget. And that's, I think, really huge as organizations are thinking of going through a CRM conversion, that there's a certain level of pain tolerance that an organization can go through or withstand, as they're trying to migrate to a new solution. We deliver not only cost savings but revenue lift. I told you of a couple of stories with American Lung and Humane Society. That is pretty much the standard for a lot of our organizations. Our product that we're going to show you today, I believe software should always be in development. There are always new things to have incorporated into a product. We have a very rapid deployment. Our monthly, our product releases are monthly, so that's also very unique to us in the industry. And as I mentioned earlier, we've got very low staff turnover, and I think really the ownership of the company, not just because I own it, but because we answer to our clients, really results in a high degree of satisfaction and excellence in our support. Just to give you, I always, if I were in a room with you, I'd ask you the question and have you raise your hand. It doesn't really work over the phone, but I ask folks, how many of you guys have been in a conversion before, and how fun and enjoyable was it? These are just some examples of the conversion timetables that our clients have experienced over the years. There are a couple there that you see are 3-month conversions. I'm not recommending that. In fact, I would recommend not doing a 3-month conversion, but sometimes you have to. We had a couple of organizations that were in a situation where they needed to have a 3-month conversion, and sure, that can happen. But generally speaking, our conversions are about 6 to 9 months from start to finish in terms of moving an organization from one platform to another. I won't go into great detail. This is a slide that I could spend certainly the whole hour on, and probably longer, but I always, when I'm talking to organizations, the direct mail folks always say, ROI's a really great direct marketing, direct mail platform. the major donor and high-touch fundraisers always look at ROI and say, they've got it. They've got a really good platform for us. The ECRM folks, in terms of integration, will say ROI has that. The monthly giving programs, the sustainer departments and organizations say, wow, that's ROI. That is the best product out there for us. The membership departments, will say, yep, that's what I use ROI for. Volunteer management, that's what I use ROI for. I could go on. You get the idea. It's really an integrated ecosystem, and every organization is somewhat unique in terms of the vendors and things that you do that need to hang off of that CRM. So, you might have a canvas. You certainly might have direct marketing vendors and telemarketing vendors. You might have payment processors or mobile or et cetera. And all of those things really need to feed back into your CRM, because what we're trying to do is bring all the data into one place that you can then see, the 360 view of your folks that belong to your organization, whether they're volunteers, whether they're board members, whether they're donors, whether they're members. And that's what really we work to do within our ecosystem. Just a couple of pitches out there for some of our partners that we work with. We are also vendor agnostic or partner agnostic. And in fact, a lot of these partners have been driven by our clients. Our clients will come to us and say, hey, we want to work with Engaging Networks or Blue State Digital or what have you. We will rise to that occasion to really work through the details of how we integrate with those. And so as a result, we have a tremendous amount of experience in working with pretty much every vendor out there. So that's just to give you a sense of who we do work with. I'm going to turn the show over here to Jason because I think it's really important to see the product live as opposed to screenshot. So, Jason, without further ado.
Thank you, Gina. And so what I'm going to do actually is log into a demo environment. I've already been in there, but I'm just going to jump back in. And as Gina was saying, our goal really is to drive to that 360-degree view, whether it's data that we're creating in our system, whether we're getting overlaid data, whether we're integrating with other applications in order to bring that data into the constituent information hub. So what I'm going to do is really take on a couple of different user roles. Gina had mentioned a few of those, but I'm going to focus on being a constituent care officer, perhaps a direct mail manager, and even a major gifts officer, really to give you some insight into the full constituent journey as managed through our application. So we'll jump in and start in a scenario where I'm a constituent care officer and the phone rings and I've got my headset on. I'm ready to start my day. Hello, thank you for calling the ABC organization. How can I help you? And then that journey for that individual constituent that I'm going to talk to really begins. And so where do I start? So I'm going to start at our search screen, and we have a number of different ways to search in ROI, actually extremely flexible as well as quite powerful. So there's a number of different tables in this type of search that I can do, but there's a number of different ways I can search as well. So I could search by payment method, and Gina mentioned, we manage credit cards on our systems. We're PCI compliant level 1, and so tokenized information can be stored on our system. We can do bulk searches. So if I happen to be, managing our online program, I could run through a number of different email addresses and pull up a number of records. I could even do a donor search whereby I could do geographical proximity searches, map those records out, and also do some giving information. Use the results of that query, really, to do other things within the system. But let's just jump back into the phone call. I answer that phone call, and I hear the name Cynthia Robbins. And so I'm just going to do a quick search. I couldn't quite hear her first name, so I'm going to do a fuzzy search here, and I pull up the record in a quick moment. So I see already as I pull this result of this search, I'm already getting some data about that individual. So I've got a household address, I've got a picture of that constituent, I've got some summarized data here around giving and some other fields as well. Well, I can also customize that output, right? So if I wasn't a customer care person and I wanted to really access some other information, I could do that too. And so I could bring in a whole host of other data points, really to start learning more about that individual or groups of individuals that I have. And there's a whole slew of tables that I can access right in the search screen. As I jump into the record, you'll notice a few things. So immediately at the top left, we have, again, some summary data, so contact information, recent giving information, some membership information as well. And then on the right, we have a number of different things. So we have some critical flags that are important that we want other users to be able to know. I'll talk about our ticklers in a little bit as we go through the journey and really create this person as a major donor prospect. And later on, we'll look how this individual looks to a major gift officer. And then really some other critical information that's going to follow around this individual constituent throughout the application. As you'll notice here, this is a householded record, so not only do we have Cynthia's record and all the data that lives behind Cynthia's record, but we also have her son, Jeffrey, 47 years old, lives at home. That's another story. But we can also look at individual data that hides behind Jeffrey's record. As you can see, on the left-hand side, we have a number of functional areas within this constituent. And so we can get details everywhere that has a green dot basically has data behind it. But not only constituent information and contact information, but other available tables to access, including demographics, relationships, financial information, giving history, sort of everything that you'd want to see. I'll jump into a household giving profile here. And what this is really going to show is one of the uses of Tableau within our application. So what we're doing here is actually looking at Cynthia's giving information summarized in a dashboard. And as Keely was mentioning, the way we're consuming data really has changed. And so we've embraced Tableau as a visualization partner and are really building out dashboards throughout the application that are going to help, understand that data better, be able to click and dive into that data and isolate individual data points so that you can use that information really throughout the constituent journey to help move them up the pyramid, hopefully. One of the other things that we do is we actually record the entire contact history of that individual, whether it's inbound contacts or outbound contacts. And I can look at sort of every contact that we've had across this individual constituent. The call, back to the call, right? And so Cynthia says, hey, I got a direct mail package and I'm interested in really supporting this local initiative. And as I'm on that phone call as a constituent care representative, I want to know immediately, what that piece was so I can, bring that information forward and share it with the appropriate people at my organization so we can maximize the relationship, right? So what I'm going to do is just filter down to direct mail, really trying to find the package. And I noticed that there was a contact date of this week, and there was a gift associated with it of $1,000, right? And so I might want to thank Cynthia while I'm on that call immediately, but then also really drive down to that individual source so I can really get a better understanding of what package she was talking about and what other information I can glean from her responding, but also saying that she wanted to support that local initiative. So in ROI Solutions, in Revolution Online, source codes can really contain a lot of information. It's not just a series of numbers and digits representing, RFM statistics or, gift level or anything like that. It can contain that information, of course, but then there's a lot of other information it can contain, including package, including general ledger account, fund allocation, all sorts of custom fields that our clients can do, all the way down really into looking at some of the creative components, and this is just an attachment of the Puppy Love package that Cynthia responded to, and she wants to get involved in a spay-neuter program in her local area. And so what we're going to do is, bring that information forward and share it with prospect research, and prospect research is going to really dive in and understand, what are the capabilities, what are the financial abilities of this individual, what real estate holdings, etc., so that they can better understand, really what we should be asking for of Cynthia Robbins. So what I'll do next actually is really sort of change hats. We'll jump out of there and say, well, yeah, that was great. We looked at an individual source code, but what if I was a direct, what if I was a direct mail manager? What if I was a direct marketing manager? And so I've jumped over into a different functional area in our application, what we call our Tools tab. And I'm really going to look at promotions across the board. And this is a tree. It's really flexible as far as how I can dive in and dissect and understand this data for our promotions and for our campaigns. And of course, I could change really the levels that I'm looking at. So, if I were to change these, I could save that and it'll rebuild that tree so I can dive into direct mail specifically, look at overall direct response. I have all the codes across all of these appeals. I might want to dive into one appeal, and from there I could get a summary of metrics. So at a very high level, this is sort of a report built into our system where I'm actually looking at a summary level report of all the drops, transactions, obviously a very high average gift in here, but our basic metrics that are going to tell you really about the results of this campaign and how successful it was. Or if I wanted to, I could look at all direct mail for the entire year and get a summary of that information. Furthermore, I could dive in and look at reporting capabilities across campaigns, right? And so one of the things Keely mentioned in the beginning, in the introduction, was sort of statistical reporting. We're not getting away from statistical reporting, and we have, approximately, I think the last count was about 330 sort of standard reports across direct marketing, across longitudinal views of individual constituents and their giving history, their performance, whether they're advocacy reports or finance. A lot of different users are accessing this system. Each of our reports, not only can you run those ad hoc based on the input that you put into them, but you can also schedule those reports, right? And so this might be an important report to me. I want to check on campaign performance, and every Monday I'm going to get a scheduled report. And this report might also be important to Gina as well, and so we can create a distribution list of any report in the system that will be in your inbox when you arrive to work on Monday or any other day. Were I to just run that report, I just ran a sample. So these reports aren't going away, right? So we used to, back in the day, look at blue bar reports. They're very valuable, right? You want to know individual segment information, really to share that across your direct mail vendors and others in your organization so you know where you should focus on. But in more recent years, as we started working and building out our dashboards, we started moving towards interactive Tableau dashboards. Again, the ability to dig in, highlight individual areas, really actually go down to the raw data if you wanted to, download that information and use it in other ways. So very powerful ability to dig in. ability also to share these visualizations across the entire user audience. So you don't need a Tableau license in order to access these dashboards. They're available for all or a subset of users depending on what security controls that you want to have over each individual report. Also, we provide the ability with a product called Tableau Desktop for our individual clients and their analysts to build custom dashboards and embed those directly in our application. So that's available really for all users, and we're starting to build out an inventory of dashboards that are really going to help across the constituent journey through many different users. I will jump back into my constituent care role just briefly and really just do one more thing, and then we'll go take a look at what this means from a major gift officer perspective. And so one of the things you can do, and I mentioned it earlier, is to have a tickler, and there's one tickler on here. It's already been assigned, but I'll just show you this. One of the things that a number of our clients have done is they'll look at their overall major gift portfolio and assign a tickler when any data changes within that that constituent record. So extremely powerful way of saying, hey, something's happened. This is our most important donor group. Whoever owns this account might want to know that that this change has been made, really to anything or any specific activity. And so you can assign really a global tickler or ticklers to individual user roles as well. That's one way to do it. We can also sort of automate the ability to surface individual constituents to any user or any user group through custom scripting. And I'd say finally, on this constituent record, we have a full audit trail. This is super important. So a full audit trail of any change that's ever been made to this record across the history of this record, and I'll just dive in. I've made a number of these changes, as you can see here, but we highlight both the change date, what's changed within that record, a user stamp, and a timestamp. So you really have a historical record of those changes within that system. So one of the things I would do if I was in constituent care is send a system alert to really to prospect research. Let's jump out of this account and we'll go look at what this looks like for a major gift officer. And so what we've done here is assign this prospect to one of our major gift officers. Her name is Rayanne Doe. I'm actually going to jump in. I've been in Chrome. I'm going to actually jump into Edge and log into the database as Rayanne Doe, a high-touch major gift officer. Bear with me a second as I remember Rayanne's password. And so this is our high-touch platform. Immediately, while it's in the same application and you can see our search screen, you'll notice that really there are a different number of tabs up at the top. We've slimmed down the view of the application based on her user role. And really with high-touch officers, so major gift officers, plain giving officers, they're great at going out to lunch, jumping on the phone, really closing gifts. They're not probably the best in adopting new technology. And so what we've done is really slimmed down this application and taken a very visual approach to looking at the moves management process and also, really focusing on things that need to be accomplished in order to get them closer and closer to soliciting and hopefully successfully soliciting a gift. So at the top of this dashboard, you can see really a summary of how Rayanne Doe as a major gift officer has performed on her portfolio over these discrete period of time. So in the last week, month, quarter, and year to date, and so she's been responsible for raising over $11 million this year. On the right-hand side, you can see a number of activities that she's completed across, again, those discrete time periods. And down below, you can actually look at the portfolio as it falls into each of these moves management categories, from ID and qualification all the way up through solicitation and stewardship. If I hover over any one of these individuals that are in this position in their plan, I can actually jump into the record and see how long they've been in the plan, how successful I've been at my job as far as, getting to that next activity and eventually making that solicitation. As I see on the left here, there's Cynthia. There's an alert in that record. I'm going to actually jump through that. We're going to go into her record again from a major gift officer's view. And we'll see right here I have that tickler. I can jump to that tickler screen. Sign a major gifts plan to Cynthia. She's interested in the local initiative, which we just showed. And based on her giving and wealth engine profile, right? So Gina showed some of our partners. Wealth Engine is one of them, and it's sort of embedded into our application, so you can do some prospect research there. Anyway, estimated at a $500,000 ask for that individual. And so if I jump into cultivation plans, I can actually assign right from here a cultivation plan for this major gift prospect. And so I'm going to select a plan. I'm going to put in a projected ask of $500,000. The plan starts today. It'll take a little while to cultivate that individual and secure the gift. But what basically I've done now is created that plan and really the timetable in which I want to accomplish that based on a template that's been associated with this major gift to solicit a major gift for the organization. And so if I dive down into that major gift, I've already created a number of templatized contacts. I can delete or edit any one of these contacts. But really how I'm going to get through to contact, solicit, get to know Cynthia, and hopefully close that $500,000 gift. However, while this is a template, that might not be reality for this individual. And I happen to know that Cynthia is going on an extended world tour in the month of March, and so I can drop in some pauses within that in that period and maybe say it's for a month and move out those scheduled activities for the month of March, moving them into April. So I think you can get an idea of that, how we're really sort of rethinking the way that users do their job every day and really designing our application to accommodate those needs and also help them in the moves management process, particularly with high-touch fundraising. I know we're sort of good for time, but wanted to see if we wanted to take some questions.
Doesn't look like there are any yet up on the screen.
Okay.
Yep, I think you're good.
Great. And so one of the things I can do directly from this dashboard view as well is look at a number of recent accounts that we've looked at, or look at all activities, or really dive into that portfolio. And so I'm actually looking at Rayanne Doe's full portfolio, but I could further drill down into any of the moves management stages and look at some of the data that lives behind these individual prospects and focus maybe on some of the asks that we've made for those individuals.
We do have one quick
question. One question, sure.
Someone asked if it is possible for the manager of the major gift officers to see the progress of their team.
There is. In fact, Rayanne Doe is both a major gift officer and a manager. And so we've embedded a number of manager reports to look across an entire team or individual solicitors on that team. So we can look at Charles Vance's as a solicitor as well, a major gift officer, and we can look at all the plans and dive into the individual activities associated with those plans to make sure that, you know, as a manager, we know that Charles is doing what he should be doing to close a gift. I hope that answered that question.
One additional question, can you show us how gift processing would work?
Sure.
Gift entry?
Yes. And so what I'm going to do is dive back into this account, which has, in our tools section, under transactions, we can do a batch. So gifts come into Revolution Online a number of ways. A number of our clients work with caging and cashiering vendors. We have a number of upload templates, and I'll just show that just briefly, that are built into our system where you can upload a number of different types of files, one of course being transactions or secure transactions if they're credit cards. We've templatized those, so there's a number of scripts built in that, you know, look at those types of uploads and brings that data in, matches it appropriately, and puts it into the system. Or manually, we could do a batch input process. And I can just create a new batch real quick here. And I'll add a new batch. There's some information that you have to put that is mandatory that you have to put in there. But if we wanted to, let's just say we'll create a fake batch name. And we're going to say we have one gift for $100. And then we can jump into our batch. We're going to look for a donor ID. I remember Cynthia's, I think it's 913, but let's just verify that. And so we require you to look up that record, particularly if it's a new record. We require you to look it up before you can add a new record to the system. It was 913, I was correct. We'll apply a source to that. And so we can look for a source. Again, we can use wildcards in there. I'll quickly find a source. Let's say this gift was $100. We'll say it was a check. Excuse me, a check. Immediately, you'll see some information pop up, right? So this record has an active sustainer pledge. It's asking if I want to apply it to the pledge. I'm not going to, but there are controls in place so that you make sure that you're putting, a gift towards the right pledge or really to the right activity. One of the other sort of automated processes here, I chose a source code that wasn't in this individual's contact history. So the system's telling me, hey, maybe you look at that source code a little more closely. At any rate, once I save that, that will be a new batch. That batch, because we're sort of rigorous in our controls around finance, should be reviewed by someone else and locked before it will be applied to the record. But let's pretend I was another user who was looking at that information. I could lock that batch and then immediately dive back into that record, and that would be updated on Cynthia's record as a new gift. Other questions?
Yep, a couple other questions that have come in about duplicates. What happens in the system in terms of doing duplicate checks? So a couple of things. Both when you're doing a search on the search screen, we actually don't let you add a record until you do a search. So when Jason was doing the search from the search screen, you'll notice that the add new record didn't show up until he performed the search. that's certainly one good way to eliminate dupes in the system. We have a number of tools in the system to allow you to locate if you do have duplicates in the system, and they're all online. And so suspect dupes, you can just go in here and click on them, and they're running by first what do you got here? Possible dupe on last name, 3 characters of the first, and 7 of the street, and you can see there are a number of them below that, and that's going out and looking to see if any of those match on that. And if so, you can click on it and combine the dupes, or if you have a situation where in fact they're not dupes, Bob Smith and Bob Smith, father and son at the same address, and they're in fact not dupes, you can mark them as not dupes, or you can combine them into a household. So you've got a lot of flexibility. What a number of our clients have asked us to do and take advantage of is an automatic deduping of the system on a periodic basis. So I'm a big fan. If you can articulate it, we can program it. And so every client's sort of different in terms of their tolerance of duplicates, but we have a number of algorithms that will go out and actually find exact matches based upon a client's business rules and go ahead and combine those or create households or what have you. That same thing happens not just in a manual way when you're interacting with the system, but it does that same check for duplicates on upload. So if you're doing an upload from another system, or if you're doing a sync from another system, an eCRM, et cetera, the process by which we take the data in we'll check to see if there's dupes based upon a client's business rules. If it is a dupe or a match, we'll append the information as opposed to creating a new record. Someone also asked if we have done any integrations with other email platforms such as MailChimp, Constant Contact, a few others, and the answer is yes. Out of the box, we do have a number of integrations that we have built for clients, like with Engaging Networks and Convio Illuminate, etc. We've had a number of organizations that have used other products like Constant Contact, MailChimp, and we have done integrations with those as well. I think that is it for questions that I am seeing online. Let me just take one quick look here. Yep, that is it for questions. Do you want? So obviously we could show you a whole bunch of other things. I don't know, Jason, if you showed the reports. We've got 300 and some reports that come with the system. Oftentimes people ask about, do you have a report for XYZ? Of course, the short answer is probably, because there's about 320 reports that we've developed over the years that come with the system. Oftentimes when we start to work with a new client, or over time, they might have changes to reports that we could certainly add or make modifications to the online reports. Cool part about the reports is you can run them interactively. Because it is a web application, they have to run very fast through the system. You can also schedule them to run on an automated basis. I see a lot of our clients, just picking a report that they like, customizing it, hitting the schedule button, and it lands in their inbox on a Monday, Tuesday, etc. Automatically. Obviously, there's a lot more we could show you over the system here, but we only have a limited amount of time. We really appreciate everybody's interest in joining online. If you are interested, certainly you can get in contact with Jason or myself, and we're happy to give certainly more in-depth demos as necessary or as people desire. But I think.
Great. Thank you so much, Gina and Jason. I think we're just about out of time. Thank you, everybody, for your questions. If you have additional questions, you can please send them to us with the email link in your webinar invitation. We appreciate everybody's presence. Thank you for joining us today, and the recording will be sent to everyone by the end of the week. Thanks again, and we will
Thank you very much.
See everyone virtually soon. Yeah, have a great end of your week and weekend.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.